Thanks for coming back to the greatest podcast ever in the history of podcasts. I am Michael Thomas, and that is your other co-host, Reggie. Say hi, Reggie.
Hi, Reggie.
Okay. A couple of things to note, and I'll keep them short. Well, I don't know why I feel the need to keep them short. But the first thing is for people that haven't noticed, we are actually on Instagram now. Dating while adulting, please go and follow us. What you will see are just announcements when we put up new episodes, um, little clips of what the episodes contain, a lot of cool things on it. So go follow us on that if you would so desire. And even if you don't so desire, it's just hitting the button. So go follow us. Shit. I'm sorry, that was a little extreme. I'm sorry. Please go follow us.
Yeah,
Um,
whatever.
yeah. um, Actually, and another thing I wanted to bring up. Oh, yo, you heard about A Rod and J Lo?
Yeah, I just saw that last night.
Man, I'm telling you, man, we had this podcast, and it makes me wonder why we had a podcast. Because man, these things aren't built to last. Shoot, I actually have faith in that one. They both old, you know.
Got money,
Yeah, they both
beautiful,
got money and stuff. They both
working
love
out
each other.
together and all that stuff.
Yeah, they seem compatible.
That,
And it's one of those deals where I thought they were good until they weren't. Now, it's not like I follow them every single day or at all for that matter. But I had the impression that their relationship was something special.
I, my thing, this is funny. I'm gonna sit there and say this. If everybody was clowning on Jada, and Will, but they in it to win it. So regardless how freaking dysfunctional it is, because we didn't see this stuff. I didn't see any rumblings with J Lo and A Rod.
Man,
Any.
hey, what did Will and Jada say? Bad marriage for
Bad marriage forever for life,
life.
baby.
I
I could I committed to you. I don't care. We get the knives and guns like Mr. and Mrs. Smith and stuff, but hey, you ain't going nowhere. I chose you, you chose me. You're gonna die with me.
Can I just say on a side note, in terms of well, just women in general, in her prime, I hadn't seen her in a while, but Angelina Jolie in that Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie,
Oh
wow,
yeah. Oh yeah.
you could not take your eyes off of that woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they say she's a little insane, but
A
that's
little
kind of
no,
most men like.
no,
So
no. Trust me. You saw some of the stuff she did that leaked in public. What was it? The blood thing or whatever that was.
yeah,
Uh
when she was with Billy Bob Thornton, they extracted blood and they used to carry each other's blood in a
blood in a
vial
vial.
on their neck. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
So that's the stuff that leaked to the public. Can you imagine what really goes on behind closed doors?
right. Oof, boy, I tell you what, and it pays to be beautiful when you're doing that
Pretty
because,
much.
shoot, I can imagine me walking to a woman, especially a sister, and saying, "Yo, give me some of your blood so I can wear it around, around my neck." Just
Yeah,
thinking about that conversation cracks me up.
that's gonna go over well.
Yeah, yeah. And the third and the last thing before we get into the topic is, yo, speaking of Instagram, are you familiar with this OnlyFans phenomenon?
Yes, I do YouTube. Remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just saw it because on Instagram there are women that are like follow my OnlyFans and stuff like that, and I had no idea what that was. I thought that was just like their website or whatever. No, but the thing about it is, I read an article about that, and man, these women are getting paid off of this joint.
Some are.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, shoot. My thing is this, uh, you look at a woman a certain way if she's posing just with her ass out in every single picture on Instagram. But if she can counter that by displaying pictures of the G wagon that she bought by showing her ass on Instagram and OnlyFans, at some point, I guess you have to stand down. Shoot,
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
yeah. Especially in this society where it seems like money is our god. So it's like remember back in the day when rappers like when Hammer like started getting really popular and all other rappers started like shitting on him because
Yep.
he was too pop.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden rappers are doing some of the corniest things and stuff like that because and their justification for it is, man, you should have saw the chick. So
Yep. But back in the day, you were all shit on Hammer.
yeah, yeah.
Hammer. I said, yeah.
Hey, I saw Hammer twice in concert, and say what you want about that dude. That dude puts on a hell of a show. Um, I even bought like the
That the two that two um That's
Nah,
the one we tried to go gangsters.
yeah, that's the one I bought. I can't remember the name of it. The one that had like pumps in the bump and all that
Bumps in the
stuff.
Bump, yeah. Which really wasn't a bad song, but
That mess was great. He had that and another song that was a single was "It's All Good," man.
yeah,
Whatever. I used to
yeah,
shake my leg to that stuff. Hammer,
yeah.
all right with me. Except for when he's trying to get MC Search killed, but that's a whole. Go on YouTube and look at that story about how he tried to get MC Search
Oh no, I heard it because
killed by the Crips.
I forgot who was Talib, I think, was saying, or somebody. Oh no, it was Lord Jamal was talking about it. I was listening to a podcast of Lord Jamal, and he was talking about how Hammer really wasn't. Same thing we are saying. There was dissing Hammer about this, but this is how the culture is gone. And yeah, people thought Hammer was soft until it came around that he was trying to get MC Search. I was like, okay.
And that's the thing. It's like nobody was gonna try Hammer because Hammer was in the military and stuff like that and all that stuff from Oakland and all that. So nobody thought he was a sucker like that, but nobody thought he was like trying to have people killed. People
Exactly.
weren't trying to run up and fight Hammer. Yeah, so either way, it's all good.
They say
Have some
punks,
fun.
punks get up and get beat down.
Man, shoot, that is like my theme song, except for one line where he disparages gay people, which disappoints me. But if you remove that from it, um, yeah, that is one of my all-time favorite hip hop songs. Whew, that's a hard song.
It's a
Boy,
hard song.
I tell you what, if we weren't recording, I'd go listen to that mess right now. But
I realized I got to make a decision on what's going on with the face. Either gonna do some Grecian formula or just shade the shit off. Cause yeah, this gray looking like, oh my god, dude, you
it's
got dandruff like a motherfucker, right?
it's like I don't know what to make of that. It's like you know how everybody clowns people that use Beijing and stuff, and it's like people that kind of like dye their hair. It's like a low kept secret or whatever. But um, I- they have some of those joints that kind of like blends in and keep preserves some of the gray. So you had that salt and pepper joint.
Yeah, yeah. This ain't salt and pepper, dude. This is just
No, I'm just saying that, like, so it doesn't look as stark when somebody does it.
yeah.
It can like slowly blend your stuff, like to make it look like you're not like Father Christmas. But
Yeah, I need one. I need one or the other. This in between phase right now is give me good.
hey, you know what it is. You need to stop arguing with all those women. See, that's what's turning you white and gray. Shoot.
I can't honestly, I cannot dispute this. This
Yeah,
is a true story.
yeah. You talk about you enjoy it, but look at what it's doing to
Man, the cortisone levels are just spiking.
you. Right. All right. Let me
All
get to
right.
the topic because it actually is a serious topic.
Exactly.
All right. Reggie's a married man, so I won't ask him this question because I know what the answer better be. But so we won't put Reggie on the spot. I will ask him a different question. Reggie, have you ever been cheated on?
Yeah.
Okay. Back before you were married, that's what we're talking about. Have you ever cheated on a woman?
Actually, yeah. I just thought about this
Yes.
recently, and yes, I have.
Okay. And speaking for myself, um, I I suspected that a woman was cheating on me, but I never caught her. So, for the purposes of this episode, I will give her the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't know if she deserved it. And as far as cheating, I will say I have cheated, but in my defense,
Oh
and
God.
everybody has a defense too,
Everybody has that, but
uh, I was young, and this was when I was dating when commitment really wasn't taken as seriously as
hold up.
maybe.
Hold up. The third wall. Look at the third wall right now. Huh?
Mhm. Yeah, it was when I was a lot younger, and my thing is interesting though. When I cheated back in the day, and this is way back in the day, it was interesting because everybody has different reasons for cheating, and if you hadn't figured it out, we're talking about cheating today. When I did cheat, it was in situations, and it was twice. And both times they were in situations when the relationship was over, I was just too much of a punk to end it.
I
So
get that.
right. So instead of just stepping to her and saying this isn't working, I'm out.
Yeah, I
I
get
was like,
that.
well, let me just cheat, and then when I find something different,
Oh,
then I'll
so
go.
you monkey branched.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but it started with either way, it was over. But it was just like it was like monkey branching with intent, but also there was like a sliver of like I don't know what being alone is like. So I'll just stick around in this bad shit and look for something else to kind of swing on while I'm like trying to maintaining this thing that I know for a fact isn't maintainable. And
Huh.
yeah, and it's
That's actually brings a that I can actually understand that. I still think it's deplorable, but I can actually understand that.
I think it's very deplorable, and I think a lot more people do it. And I think guys and women do it. I don't even
Oh yeah,
normally.
I think women do it more often, but because most guys just freaking just because that's the nuance of it. When I did mine, um, I wasn't looking for someone. I didn't know the other relationship was over. I was young and I had this idealistic aspects of what commitment was and stuff like that. One of the reasons why we had the episode with is Reggie dating or is Reggie just trying to have some fun, right?
Mhm.
Very rarely did I date. Now there have been situations I was just trying to have some fun, and even I sat there and did the numbers. Like I really didn't have as much sex as that it appears on the podcast because sometimes I just get bored. Like I don't feel like dealing with you. So, but at the same time, as for being in a committed relationship with someone, knowing that I want to see you be with you long term, that's what I call the dating. Because when I started dating, I'm looking for the intent to, okay, I think you could be long term. But I had to set that up for this. I was in a situation that is committed, almost on the verge of. No, I think it was. I think I did pop the question, shit like that. And we're in two different locations. I was in DC. She was North Carolina, and I still had this idealistic viewpoint that women were more morally superior than men. So
Oh,
there was this older woman who wanted me. She wanted me. She wanted me. And I was like, look, I'm about to get married. What's going on? You cool, but no. And she kept pressuring. And one Friday night, after going to the bar, we had karaoke and all that, all good stuff and dancing, blah, blah, blah. And a healthy amount of alcohol. She said, hey, you want to fuck? I said, hey, you know I'm getting married, right? She said, yeah. What does that have to do with me? And I said, nothing. Now, I should have got up and left like I have been the other 15 times. But this time, Reggie was a little horny, and as some people like to say about relationships, a little lonely. So Reggie took the offer.
well, like they say, a man is only as well, a person is only as um committed as their options, or faithful as their options, I guess. Now take it if you take that for whatever it's worth. And just to be clear, that is from when you were thinking about marrying old girl in North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
Not
let's
not
be
not not the recent one. No.
let's be clear. I don't really know. Like I was hesitant, like you said, when I described the reason that I cheated in that one time or those two times that I did it, because I think it was the same reason both times. And you said you believe that most women do feel that way. I was kind of hesitant because I don't really know that I would say that that's true. I
Okay.
but I can't really dispute it either. Like normally I would just be like, well, no, that's not the case because men do it more. I can't really honestly say because I've seen people do it on both sides, but I don't really know, and I don't feel like I'm in a place to defend either side for doing it more. But like you said, regardless of who does what, it's deplorable.
Because going back to what you said before, because I never done it. I never done that. So it was a hard time me understanding that concept. But at the same time, putting in that little nugget you put about loneliness, because my loneliness doesn't get me. in those places. My lonely gets me in one night stands, not in those places, you know? Because after I wake up and, you know, the thrill is gone to say, like, yeah, that was not a good look. But missing that loneliness along with, I don't know what's out there and the fear thing. So I want to make sure it's better. I could find something better to replace this loneliness, which is another podcast that we were talking about how loneliness feeds into relationships and stuff. I understand it now. I still disagree, but I understand it a lot more than I did versus, you know, it's just, well, no, you just being a just trifling person.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Yeah, and to your point, yeah, we will talk about loneliness in another episode because I am a firm believer that loneliness drives a lot of our decisions, and it's like the deep, dirty, dark secret that people are ashamed to admit that they are. But yeah, we'll talk about that in another episode. So that's that. But yeah, to your last point, everybody that cheats, there's always more to it. That's why when somebody gets caught, they'll always be like, "I'm a decent person." It's like seems like every in this day and age, especially, anytime somebody gets caught doing something wrong, they always feel like they have to say, "That's not me. That's not my character,"
That's
or
not my character.
I'm a good person and all of that stuff. When it's like, so there's always an excuse, there's always a justification in admitting to it in the same way that I just admitted to those two times. While it makes it more understandable and less doggish, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still foul all the same.
True.
Even though, again, um, they never found out. I never got caught, and those I'm about to say marriages,
Mm-hmm.
those relationships went to the wayside. But all of the stuff that me and Reggie are talking about is hypothetical because everybody knows that black men don't cheat. So, so we just spent like 15 minutes just talking about stuff that really doesn't matter because it doesn't apply to any black man. But that does bringing it back to a serious note. It is interesting to me that part of the problem with cheating is kind of like the whole thing. Like I always like to say, the devil, his biggest trick is convincing people that he doesn't exist. And I think a lot of men and some women themselves, the greatest trick is um, women believing that all men cheat.
True.
So I don't really know what really to make of that though, because if I thought like Reggie has a thing where he feels like if you date a white woman, shout out to all the white women, eventually there's eventually going to be a point where they're going to get mad and call him the N-word. I think that's ridiculous. But if I believed that solely in my heart, I would not date a white woman. I don't believe it though. So,
I told you why though, right?
yeah, you told me
I-
why.
Okay, but like I said, it has nothing necessarily to do with her being a white woman per se. It has to do with the fact that when women, most, well, not most, women in general, because not all of them, of course, when they are mad at you and you push them in a corner and they have no way out and, you know, the backlash happens, they're going to find the most destructive, most hurtful word or phrases they can use to sling that weapon. So so it's like that punch, like, get off me. And
Yeah.
that's what that is. And you can't get, if you, that's the elephant in the room. You
Yeah.
can't get past that.
I get it, whether they feel that way or not. It's like the thing. It's kind of like I always
Exactly.
talk about internet trolls and stuff like that. Anytime a black person does something and it goes to social media, you'll like find that black person being called the N word 500,000 different times. Now, you can say that those people are racist, but a lot of it is they're looking for the thing that will give them the most effect,
Mm-hmm.
make their comments stand
Mm-hmm.
out, and that's the easiest way. The
That's his
same
way.
way that me, Reggie, and his sister discussed, and Mingo talked about the whole bitch thing is
Yep.
finding the
Same.
worst thing that you can do to hurt somebody, and you can come back and say you don't believe you didn't mean it or whatever, but
You meant that, but
what?
you didn't mean it. You didn't mean it. You didn't mean it the way that it's generally. You meant to hurt and wound and injure, but not in the usual fashion.
But if that woman that you're with that has professed love for you that is of a different race calls you the N word, is she a racist?
I'm going to punt on that one.
Okay. I'm just checking because my view is that it doesn't necessarily mean that they are. Now, I am probably in the minority in that view, but Hey,
I'm gonna put on that one. So yeah.
who knows what the intent of someone is? But going back to what we were talking about women talking who believe that all women or most women cheat,
Most
it
men.
makes you most men. It makes me wonder why exactly do they mess with guys if
Yeah.
they think all of them are going to cheat,
Why do you
or
want to be in a relationship?
right, or if you're in a relationship with that person, why are you offended when they do something that you know that they're not
Don't
going to do?
yeah. You respected it. You knew, like they said in the airplane, you bought your ticket, you knew what to expect. I say let him crash. If you knew that the all men are gonna cheat, you knew he's gonna cheat on you, and he does. He doesn't make a liar out of you. You should be thanking him that he did not make a liar out of you. Why are you upset?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people believe that, well, I believe that if you have that belief that all men cheat, that means your man is going to cheat. And I think that is part of the reason that when a guy does cheat on a woman, the woman stays with the guy. Now, you can point to, well, maybe there are things about myself, this is a woman talking, that pushed him to cheat, and that's why I'm taking him back. But in a lot of cases, it's just like kind of like me. We had a debate about Cardi B, and I was like, when she said, and I was talking about when she said that she actually made the comment, well, what am I going to do? Just be out here by myself? And me and Reggie went back and forth on that. But it's like, but if you go into a relationship believing that all men cheat, or even most men cheat, because I've talked to women who were like, I don't believe that all men cheat, but let's say 95%. That's all men.
That's all, man.
Yeah, that's all men. So it's like, okay, so if you expect it, then when he does what you expect him to do, that gives you justification to take him back. Because if you believe that all men cheat, if you convinced yourself into believing that, then you don't have to like, you won't,
It shouldn't be a big surprise. You just wait for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. But
yeah.
my thing is this: even to dig into that a little deeper, if you have that belief that all men are going to cheat, it's called a self-fulfilling prophecy, where you're planting the seed subconsciously in your mind to act a certain way. And when you act that certain way, you're thinking it's just a little shield. No, he's feeling your vibes, your energy, and he's like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah.
Or her,
Yeah.
and it's like, and sooner or later they can be like, well, shit, you don't really want me. This person is showing me that you want to have attention, give me attention, and try to give me the simulation that you know care about my emotional needs. So sooner or later you're going to go.
Yeah. While I do believe that the words, you can speak truth to power. You can your words have a lot of power and all of that good stuff. Still, I have been in relationships where I've been accused of many things, and cheating being one of them every single day. It's like the strangest ways. It's like if I'm talking to a woman, I'm gonna sleep with her and stuff like that.
Oh
Still,
God. Oh God, yeah.
yeah, yeah, but it still isn't justification for it. But
I mean,
um,
like I said, don't get me wrong, we're all human, and I'm not saying that the burden is still on the person who steps out. So I'm not making any excuse for that. You still have a decision that you want to do this. But unlike this black and white version of what cheating is that really to stop, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of gray in why one person does this and not. And people sit there and say, well, it's easy to just leave. As Michael is sitting there telling me now, and in my case, let's put it in my case, I'm married. I can't sit there and say, I'm married, been married for almost 13 years now. I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, okay, I don't think this relationship is gonna work, and fuck it, I'm out, and start dissolving everything I built in 13 years.
and I think that's the other part about it. It's like there's the one thought that says, well, what am I going to do? Am I just going to find somebody else? I think saying that all men cheat basically gives you a built-in excuse not to do something that is considered to be hard.
Yes.
Marriage or relationship, the same way that I
Mm-hmm.
was a punk because I wouldn't leave even though I knew it was bad. Whether you're a man or a woman, if it's
Mm-hmm.
something that you won't tolerate and you stay there despite it, you're a punk. Now with
True.
that said, If you
You're
have
weak.
convinced yourself, yes, you're weak, not a punk. You're just
No,
weak.
you're a punk too. I just want to say weak because
Well, or
we
there's a
did no
difference
we
between being
remember
weak and strong.
we did a podcast where you asked me the definition of weak, and that's weak. You
Right,
going
but
against
you
your
did. But
integrity to stay someplace. You're a punk. You're a PAB.
okay. Um. First of all, I disagree with that. I think being a punk and being weak are two different things. But with that said, it's funny how you can use that. Well, they all cheat, so I don't have to do the thing that um, I wouldn't even say should do because I'm not going to say that you should leave somebody that cheats on you.
No.
If you feel that you should and you don't, then that's when it comes into it. If you do some introspection and say, okay, had a part in that,
Yes.
or if you say, well, I accept because I met this dude. I know all men cheat, so it's not a big deal. He cheated. I'm mad at him for doing it and not telling me or whatever the situation is. But if it happens and you take him back, that's cool. But if you want to leave and don't, and that's the difference between men and women, and it's because you ask 10 men if they would tolerate their wife or girlfriend cheating, and 10 out of 10, I would
Nine,
say,
9 out of 10.
okay, I was going to say 10 out of 10, but I was going to say then the percentages is lower of those that would actually leave because you know how guys posture.
We talk shit.
Yeah, we talk that talk. Yeah, if I caught my woman, I shoot her, shoot him, and then you find out that your woman cheated, and it's like, why you still with her? Man, we went to
Yeah.
counseling.
we go to counseling.
Yeah. So yeah,
I be living her. Yeah.
yeah.
When you
But
talk
see,
about that shit.
all that talking. But see, a lot of that stuff is that another thing going back to the women and why they try to justify that stuff. Another thing that they use as an excuse, talk about that weakness and stuff like that, is that it's 48 million men to one woman and all of that stuff. And it's like, first of all, that's not true.
It's
And it's
nowhere
like,
near. It's nowhere near true.
yeah,
It's no that whole. There's more men in college. I mean, in prison than in college. You run the numbers. No, there's not.
it,
And the same thing with the ratios. No, it's not.
right. And
Now,
it's like,
granted,
uh-huh.
your what you may want. Yeah, there's 50 to 1, 6'2" guys,
Right. Right. That
with
makes six
six figures.
figures. Always comes back to six figures.
Yep, always.
Yeah. So what you want, and the thing that refutes it that women still want to debate me on that is, I mentioned online dating a lot, and that's because we're in COVID and nobody's out in the street, so you're not meeting people except online. But it's funny, every single woman that I meet and talk to, they'll readily tell me that they get 20 men that like them a day or however many.
Versus how many guys?
Um,
I
20,
mean, first,
20
no,
minutes like them, as
if
opposed to if I get like 3 hits a week,
you're happy, you're ecstatic as
I
hell.
am like, it's a good week.
It's a good
So
week.
if you are sitting there next to me telling me that the ratio is 7 to 1, but you're getting 20 guys to my 3, it, it the justification, and then the argument is, well, you should see these dudes. I don't like any of them. You should see these women.
And that's the thing about it. I was one of the podcast YouTube guys I listened to about this subject. He actually got one of his female friends to, because same thing. He's like, women, you don't understand how easy you really got it in the dating world. And she debated the same thing. No, 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 no. She said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a profile, and you're gonna be the man. We're gonna make the profile and blah blah blah, and we're gonna do this experiment for a whole month.
Yeah.
She changed her mind.
Yeah, because that's another thing that I hear from women that have start accounts and stuff like that. They're like, I had to get off after a few days because I was overwhelmed by all of the responses I was getting and stuff like that. Reggie, I've never been overwhelmed. Now, so so I but I think that that's an easy way for women to, again, along with the all men cheat, to kind of justify their doing or
Or lack
staying in
of.
something
Mhm.
that they shouldn't stay in. Again, not saying that you should leave if something like that happens, but you shouldn't have to justify it either by saying all men cheat or there are no men out here and all that stuff.
Or wait for the other shoe to drop. Like I said, you are the one putting this investment and continue putting this investment into this failing company. You're doing it. You're doing it. So you can't blame the stock market or SEC for not regulating you. They already told you, yo, this company failing. Well, maybe I can rehabilitate them. And that
Yeah.
may be the other thing.
Hmm. Yeah, because here's my thing, is that something bad happens, and this is every couple. Let's not even say it's cheating. Whatever it is, he beats you. He gambles all your money away. He has a drug problem, whatever it is. You see that guy for who he
Oh,
is.
oh, hold up. Shout out. Or like my wife says, he buys too many fucking books.
Okay, yeah, he buys too many effing books. You see who he is. You make a choice to either leave or you
Mm-hmm.
make a choice to stay. But
Mm-hmm.
what you don't do, what you shouldn't do, is make excuses for staying. Excuses like, all men do this, or there are 45 women to one man, and I'd never be able to find a man. Make your decision and stand strong on that, or be honest about that. I am a weak woman, or as Reggie says, I'm a punk, or I'm a weak man, or I'm a punk.
Actually,
And
you got that reverse, but it's
and,
okay.
and okay. And as such, I need to seek therapy to get myself to a position to make a more informed choice. Either way, as a man is single out here that's looking to be married, and I had somebody question me as to, I've had several people question as to why I'm doing this podcast. Is it like, am I just like trolling to get content, or if I'm really looking for something? I am looking to be married.
I don't know why, but
Well, that's a whole other. And having to encounter this type of argument or this type of logic or these types of philosophies over and over again that are just so flawed and baseless, it's a little frustrating.
I will put it this way. Directly going back, me and Michael had this argument over and over again. So I'm going to soften the tone a little bit, but it's the message is still the same. I believe, I strongly believe that a large percentage, 85, 90% of people who actually do cheat, it's not like they want to, well, they do want to cheat because they do it, but the environment that they're in, they still love the other spouse or whatever, but they're not getting whatever emotional need or needs taken care of. And either A, because they didn't talk about it or they're not talking about it, which shame on them, or B, you are talking about it and your spouse just refuses to, they do it for like 2 seconds and then they stop doing it. And going back to why people get in relationships and stuff like that in the first place, and you have these talks and these checklists that I got to take all these stupid tests that I keep trying to get everybody to take. If you need affirmations as your love language and your spouse has affirmation as the last one and you marry him, I mean, yes, he's going to try if he really loves you to do that. But to really expect him to meet the need that you have, that's your number one need, and he doesn't even think about affirmations. That's a Herculean effort for him or her to meet your selfish needs on that. And you should have, in my opinion, make more informed decisions to pick someone who at the bottom is a 3. You're 1, you're 3. Just like, physical need is one of them. If sex, physical touch is number 1, and you got someone who hates to be touched and you get together with them, what do you expect to happen long-term in a relationship?
Well, I agree with that part. I don't know that the only part that I would dispute is that I don't know that I would categorize those needs as selfish. It's like,
No. What I say, the reason I say selfish is because it goes to the point where outside of your need is number 1 and someone else's need is number 5, and you really expect them just because of the hormones and the honeymoon effect to actually, and all those things baseline, and you actually with that person and you quote unquote supposed to like them and you're in a relationship, that's a hard climb. That's a hard climb. And
is
I
it
don't think
though?
that's fair. I don't think that's fair for someone who is a 5 on that scale versus a 3. If it's a 3, okay, cool. A 5, that's nowhere in their wheelhouse.
Is it though?
Yeah,
You know how I feel about gifts. We've had that conversation before. But if I dated someone that gifts was her number one love language, despite how I feel about that, if I cared about her enough, I wouldn't see that as being like the most difficult thing in the world to give her that.
but you know what, Michael? This is the one time I actually gonna give you credit on
Oh,
air again. So you have a tendency to be self-reflecting. Therefore, you would sit there and understand, yo, I don't want to do this and blah blah. And it's not that much, this really isn't that much skin in the game. But oh well, she likes it. A lot of people are not that informed and not that mature about themselves.
I will say, and not even meaning to bring this conversation to me, but I will say, in the history of relationships, and not even relationships, just dating, I do a whole lot of fucking bending.
No comment, brother.
And what I know, pause. And what's frustrating about it is people don't bend for me, but that's anything.
Or they do very little. They do this little head nod.
Well,
And then like want to parade for
I'm
it.
just gonna say again, I've never ever been in a relationship where someone has done more for me and it hasn't even been close.
Hey Mike, hey
All I'll
Mike.
say,
You remember that time back in 1972 I bought you those Waffle House?
man, right, right, right.
Isn't that enough, Michael?
Like,
Why
yo,
don't you love
I
me?
would like for you to take me out to breakfast. I took you to Waffle House in 1972. Thanks.
But going
Anyway,
back to what I said before, that friction right there leads to why some people step out.
okay, yeah, we got like 9 minutes left, so let's jump into this because me and Reggie we disagree on some things, and we want to talk about those disagreements that we have right now. One, because I don't think anybody disputes that women are cheating more often, not more than men, but just more than they used to. The numbers are getting closer to 50-50 than they ever have been. More and more women are stepping out. Reggie, will you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay. Will you also agree with me that still men in the majority are cheating more than women?
Only because the evidence still point that way. But there's a caveat: women usually don't get caught, and women will lie about it, saying that no. Because like I said, we're talking to a researcher, and a lot of them most men can't sit there and say, "Well, yeah, I cheated." If they didn't get caught, they most of those MLs got caught. Women don't get caught.
See, and this is where me and Reggie started to get stuck. And my
Anyway, keep
whole thing
going.
is,
We got that. We
yeah,
dispute that
yeah,
later.
because I'll just say about that is that, yeah, the after hours for this will be interesting. 'Cause what I'll say to that is that, yeah, guys won't like say I cheated when they're in the relationship, but when you take like the same way I just talked about what I did back in the day, the same way that you did back in the day, a lot of guys I know brag about what they did back in the day. So people don't necessarily have a problem with admitting what they did in the past. They're just not admitting what happened in the present.
True.
So that's why.
But when it comes to women though, women not gonna sit there and for the most part. Well, the women we grew up with for the most part. Now these new breeds, they don't mind being hoes, but uh, the, uh the women that we grew up with, even if they did, they're not gonna sit there and tell some researcher that because they're gonna have this thing that I did wrong and I'm trying to repent with Jesus and all this other stuff. No, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Sorry, I just believe that. Not gonna happen.
Okay, that's our first disagreement. The second thing is, okay, we talk about the reasons that men and women cheat. I believe that Reggie's really going to disagree with me on this one. I believe that the majority of men cheat because of options that they've created or that have been presented to them, more so than issues that drive them to cheat. Well, I believe that there are issues that drive them to cheat, but I think the majority of it is she's right there, she's giving me the action, and it's low hanging fruit. Whereas I believe that the majority of women, and they cheat, I believe it has more emotional bullshit that they are going through in their relationships. I know men that cheat who would speak of their marriages as happy marriages. I don't know that I've encountered any women that cheat
What's
who
not?
say that their marriages are happy.
And that lies the bias in your analysis right there.
Okay.
The women not gonna sit there and say, "Well, I'm happily married, but I love getting dick over there." I
Well,
mean, and like I said, it still goes on to the stereotype for the most part outside this new generation that women aren't going to sit there and talk about their sex lives and sit there and say, yeah, I cheated because that motherfucker was sexy as hell. I still love my husband. I'm not gonna leave my husband, but I just needed him. They're not gonna do that. They may do that within their close circles and shit, but they're not gonna tell us that shit because
And
we're fragile.
we hadn't had one of these back and forths in a minute, so I guess it's refreshing to have one after all this time. Because it's funny to me how Reggie like points to science and statistics and all of that stuff, but when the statistics don't point in his favor, then he says, "Well, the statistics are skewed because the people being asked the questions are lying."
No,
So,
no, I'm saying no. I'm saying in using statistics and human behavior because you got to put the bias in. Also, all humans lie. Now there are degrees of how they lie, but if you're going to cheat, you're going to lie. That's the basic part of cheating, lying. So women have more women have more incentive to protect their reputation when it comes to this particular subject than men because they get punished more than men.
well,
So
if
they're
we're
going to lie more than men.
Okay, if we're talking about a survey, though, which is what you point to, statistics, these things are conducted on the condition of anonymity. It's not like they're like listing the names and addresses of these people being asked the questions. So that would lessen their reasons to want to lie about whether they cheated or not and the reasons for which they cheated.
Yes and no, because like I said, you still have to factor in the female subconscious, the female conscious on what this taboo is. You just can't, they may have issues with the fact, like I said, the older ones, the young ones don't care. But um the young ones, I mean, the older ones be like, yes, I did it and I feel bad about it. And blah, 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 blah. They're not gonna put that shame on. Shame and guilt it's serious, particularly in women. It's serious.
Okay,
It's
s-
serious.
so you mentioned statistics, but you had mentioned that you don't believe those.
No, I said that. No, I said you can't take numbers as. What I'm saying is, they have a saying: statistics are only how you read into them, but you do have a baseline number that tries to make things up as objective as possible versus just taking people's word for it off the street. So you have a data point, but understanding these biases, including yours, that you bring into the system, you can try to get some kind of roadmap. The roadmap is not actually the terrain, totally different, but you can get a framework versus just saying,
Okay, okay. So you're basically saying that whatever this is that you point to, you're saying it's not true because you believe it's not true because people lie when they're asked a question, and therefore, because the reason
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying that it's inaccurate.
well, the reason I keep harping on this is because this is the first time that you've ever mentioned this, and you are the one that's always bringing in research and statistics. But this is the first case where you've pointed that, well, women must be lying. So that means that the research is skewed. And it's like you've had many times in the past to point to that, which is actually what I've been saying. But now it's just that women are lying. So we can't
No, I don't know. Hold
your
up. I said
personal opinion.
research. No, the research I've always been doing has been on a psychological level. We're not talking about this is the first time we actually bringing in numbers
What research are you doing?
about love languages and the different aspects of why men and women cheat and blah blah blah. When it comes to just hardcore numbers and what the statistics say, when that kind of quote unquote research, no, this is the first time I've ever done this throughout this whole podcast.
Okay, but still, it's like doing that stuff that you mentioned on the side is still your personal belief. Like
No, it's not my personal
unless
belief
you
is I don't care.
unless you can say unless you can say I know for a fact that these women right here that I've spoken to, they've lied about cheating. It's like it doesn't come across because I've spoken to women that have admitted that they've cheated
Yeah.
in the past. I mean, they won't say it about their current situations, but yeah, well, actually, some have too. But that's a personal thing. But yeah, so it's like okay, we talked about we're going to talk about the disagreements. We'll spend like another 20 minutes just going back and forth on that. Let's move off of
Oh,
that.
just on that one. Yes, yes.
Let's move off of that. So okay, so we disagree about the reasons primarily that a woman will cheat. Do we disagree primarily about the reasons that men will cheat? I said, again, just to recap, that a lot of men will cheat. The majority of men will cheat because they find some low hanging fruit. And before women say that that justifies the whole thing about men having more options, just because a man will go out and sleep with a troglodyte does not necessarily mean that a woman cannot do the same thing. Men might have a lower standard when they stepping out, but still, it doesn't mean that they have more options.
Nope, not
Oh,
at all. And my thing is this, we need to understand the elephant in the room about attention and, it's not always emotional need, but women do crave more attention than we do. And if a guy that they think is halfway plausible who wants to bang them and they catch them right, they're going to do it. That's the only thing I'm saying. What the reasons for the, I, bottom line, I do believe old average for men and women who the ones who are actually in happy relationships. There are emotional needs, deficiencies, imbalances that have them whatever. Some of the ones that we're talking about, no, they just want the pleasure of being with someone new. As the guy say, I just can't give it that new P. You know what I'm saying? So, but as for most serious committed people, when they do that, if they do that, there's a more underlying emotional imbalance in the relationship that's not being addressed. That's what I firmly believe.
and you say that's for both people.
Yes, guys, of course, have the machismo to sit there and they're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, Michael, well, Tammy didn't take out the trash last night, and she made me feel like she called me a bitch, and I feel like half. Well, I didn't take out the trash last night, and she called me a bitch, and I feel like half a man. So I'm going to fuck this chick down the street. We're
So
not gonna say that,
this,
even if we do fuck the chick down the street. We gonna sit there like, well, I fucked the chick down the street because she was fine.
and I guess it speaks to like the neck of the woods that you come from or the one you live in and stuff like that, especially at this age, because I hear men talk shit like that. Shit, men talk stuff like that all the time. It's like
Yeah,
as you get older, it becomes less cool to say I knocked down the chick down the street because she was fine. Because dudes aren't patting each other on the back for that stuff at 50 years old.
should not be.
Right, right. So dudes now are saying, well, there is something lacking in the relationship, or if they're saying he did it because she was fine, it might have actually been because she was fine.
She was fine.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a
She
lot
was
of that,
fine.
I think a lot of that can be the majority of it. Um, yeah, and uh, hey,
I ain't gonna lie. If
oh,
Holly Berry, Selma Hayek, hell, Angela Bassett, Riri, hey, mm. Lucy Liu,
wow, talk about a blast from the past.
yeah, I'm just saying, hey, they fine. If I think they fine, I may roll the dice.
Well, I will let you and your wife um, go over that, but I think just your saying that kind of speaks to my point. Um,
But those are,
oh,
but like I said, that's not low fruit. I'm not gonna go just do a track night because she want to
but,
suck
but
me in the parking lot.
but that's the whole thing. No, it's like those aren't low fruit to you, but to each guy, it's a different thing. It's like that's your list. Another guy's list might be Shaniqua with the tattoo on her breast. And shoot, hey, the point is you're sleeping with someone for a reason other than there being a problem in that relationship slash marriage. And that is what we disagree on. But I wish, I don't know. That's interesting to continue on. The problem with a lot of these things is that we do a lot of this speculation and we base it on things that we've experienced, like from talking to other people and stuff like that. I wish we could just get like,
Like two random people, the man and the female, random, just pick them out the street.
I was thinking like more than two, like 10
Oh,
men, 10
oh,
women,
you want to
all of which
you want to get a room?
I want to get a room. Um, we're in the last minute. I don't know if we achieved anything with this, but hey, cheaters, women, if your man is cheating on you, don't leave him, don't stay with him, but don't make those excuses about reasons to stay with him. If you're gonna stay with that dude, say that you love that dude, and hey, that's what it is. You accept what he did. Hey, no shame in that. But don't be like, well, what am I gonna do? Shoot, find somebody else. Ain't no men out here because it's 7-1, men and women, or because all men cheat. That's lame. Be honest with yourself.
You're
There's
gonna
no
stay.
Forget
If you're gonna stay, you need to make sure for sure
right. And
that
again,
you got to commit. Just like you committed to the relationship, supposedly, you really got to commit now. So the work that you may not were doing in the beginning, you just doubled. So
right,
if you're gonna stay, know that.
right. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. There is no shame in staying. No one's
No,
telling you
not
to leave somebody that cheats on you. That is
no.
a personal decision that you have to make. I'm
Yes,
just saying those lame ass excuses. You need to be honest with yourself about what you contributed to it and what you need to do about it and how you need to hold that person accountable.
exactly. Those three things right there. I totally agree.
That's right. Take that advice from the unmarried man. Dating while adulting. Thank you all for listening. Say goodbye, Reggie.
Goodbye, Reggie.
Okay, we're clear on that. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I guess we don't have anything else on that.
Well, like I said, I still, cheating is a very murky thing. I will say this. I have sympathy for people who do step out and cheat, who really do love their spouses to the capacity they have. Uh, the advice I will give you, however, is really not worth your spirit being degraded like that, even because because of the emotional emptiness you may have to have caused that chasm for you to step out to find someone else. It's really not worth it. And if the imbalances in your relationship with that other person is that bad, you do need to evaluate leaving for real.
Yeah. I just think that there's like such a great vast divide between somebody in my position in a relationship and talking about cheating versus someone like you said in a marriage and cheating because there's so much more to consider in a marriage and there are so many more reasons to stay in a marriage or at least take a harder look at staying at it when cheating is an issue, especially if you have kids, for example, things like that, a lot of assets and things like that to divide things like that. So there's a whole lot more thought to put into it. But I guess my whole thing is just the and a lot from what I hear from a lot of guys, not necessarily women, but from guys who have cheated. And I've talked to them about, well, did you have the conversation? And while it's interesting, guys might not necessarily say, I had the conversation. If this happens, I'm going to cheat. Guys will talk about how they've expressed themselves, some kind of dislike, some kind of issue that they've had in the relationship slash marriage that had gotten ignored. And
Repeatedly.
yeah, and instead of just like beating them across the head over and over again, saying, I'm not happy, I'm not happy, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
It's just like women, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Women have a way of acting oblivious to their partner's happiness as long as they're happy.
Exactly.
And that's why we shoot down all of that happy wife, happy life stuff because no, it's not happy.
That
If the
no,
other person isn't happy as well.
they're not getting anything close to the effort that they're putting in for you. No, it's not the same. And you
Yeah.
do have that blind spot. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm really saying. That's why I believe firmly a lot of men do step across.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and like I said, I've heard that before. And yeah, and I've in shoot in my relationships, I've been there. They might not have ended in cheating, but it's like constantly saying, this isn't good, this isn't good, this isn't good, and not getting any response to it, or at least adequate response to it, or that, yeah, I hear you. Yeah,
Yes.
this will change, and then
Hmm.
it doesn't change, or it changes once and then goes right back
Right
to the
back
way
to
it
it.
was.
Which goes back to what the analogy I was making with, well, not the analogy, it does, about if you have a love language at a one and the other person has it as a five, you know, put it on the person that you are. Um, that's a hard reach. And if let's just say that's one of the reasons why you did step out, because you kept saying, hey, I need more of this, I need more of this, I need more of this, which is a five for them, and they just don't have the capacity to do it. Uh,
Yeah, kind of is what it is. Kind of is what it is. But yeah, we went over today, so there won't be as much in the after hours, but I think you get the gist of it. Hey, cheaters, just talk first.
Talk first.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that you're morally wrong, you're going to hell and burn in brimstone forever. But it's not, trust me.
Okay.
Um, Sometimes that play is not worth the cost.
Yes. Especially when somebody's taking like all of your money. Okay. All right, Dating While Adulting, the podcast, datingwhileadulting.com, and all of that. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Reggie.
Goodbye, Reggie.
Again. Oh shoot. Okay. Oh,
You
okay.
don't,
What have I done?
you don't want to stop.